July 28, 1960, just months before Nigeria's independence, in the heart of Ethiopia, a child is born to Nzenwanko Senior and Mrs. Mbafo Soludo. They named him Chukwuma Charles. Little do they know this quiet village boy will grow up to forge the very architectural steel of modern Nigerian finance and the socio-political rebirth of his home state. Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, CFR, has had an exemplary career as an international scholar, consultant and advisor to over 20 international financial and development organizations and governments. Distinguished public service, businessman and philanthropist. Currently, he is on his second term as the governor of Anambra State, having just been re-elected for another 4 years 6 months ago. A man vastly read and highly respected globally. With a distinction grade in secondary school, he holds a BSc First Class Honors, MSc and PhD in Economics from the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, winning departmental, faculty and university prizes, and also attended over a dozen short-term courses at the universities of Oxford, Cambridge, Warwick, etc. He was a professor of economics UNN, promoted professor at the age of 38, and has to his credit over 200 publications, journal articles, conference papers, monographs including 15 books. He is also fellow of several professional bodies including the Chartered Institute of Bankers, Nigerian Economic Society, as well as fellow of Wolfson College, University of Cambridge, United Kingdom. He was also visiting professor at Swarthmore College, United States of America. Professor Chukwuma Soludo has also had a distinguished international service. At the height of the global financial crisis in 2008, he was the African member in the 10-member technical committee set up by the United Nations to design the agenda for reforming the international monetary and financial system. Served as member of the Chief Economics Advisory Council, CEAC, of the World Bank, 2005 to 2012. Member of the International Advisory Group, UK DFID, 2005 to 2007. Member of the External Advisory Committee, IMF 2012, among others. Before he joined the federal government in 2003, he lived in the United States, United Kingdom and Ethiopia, and traveled to 45 other countries as an itinerant scholar and consultant to 20 international organizations including the World Bank, IMF, EU, OECD, USAID, UKDFID, African Development Bank, UNDP, UNCTAD, UNECA, IDRC Canada, African Union, the Brookings Institution USA, ECOWAS, Cadastra, COMSA, Chemonix International USA, IBM Consulting USA, among others. At the federal government of Nigeria, Professor Chukwuma Soludo served as Chief Economic Advisor to President Obasanjo, CEO cum Chief Executive of National Planning Commission, Chairman cum Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Chairman of Board of Nigerian Security Printing and Minting PLC, Founder and Founding Chairman of Africa Finance Corporation AFC, and Chairman or Member of over 25 technical committees at the federal government.
So far, our measures are working. I wish we are now exporting goods, earning billions of dollars, but we are not.
Well,
and the long-term solution is still the diversification of our economy. We need to earn more dollars than the outflow. We need that to happen. The question is, if you can walk into the bank and transact all the legitimate business
in record time,
right, why would you go to the street?
That's also
those who go to the street must have something to hide, and they either want to do money laundering, or they either want to avoid documentation, they either want to smuggle it, or they want to buy it and put under their mattress. And we cannot fritter away our national reserve funding. That is not the exchange rate. Well, the exchange rate is the exchange rate where more than 95% of our legitimate transactions take place.
President Buhari also appointed Soludo as a member of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council. For this distinguished public service, Professor Chukwuma Soludo was awarded the third highest national honor, Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, CFR, in 2006, and has received over 200 other national and international awards. These include being the triple winner of the African and Global Best Central Bank Governor 2005, 2006 and 2007 by the London Financial Times, Euromoney, etc.
Icon Merchant Bank, Allied Bank. All these banks were there. United Premier Merchant Bank, Ivory Merchant Bank, Oceanic, Intercontinental. It was like a marketplace filled with businessmen and women from all over the world. So it was riotous, no organization. Nobody was even sure of his money. So something happened in 1996, 97, I think about that time, when some banks went down. I was affected. I lost 7 million in Allied Bank in 1996. All I was able to withdraw that day was 50,000 naira. The next day the bank went down. They also say, what do you call them, NDIC, Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation. We should come and pay fees. After that, I've never thought about that. So that was the situation until 2008, when something happened. Soludo, anywhere the man goes, there must be intentional disruption. An intentional disruption to get things right. So when he came with consolidation, merger and acquisition, it was a terrible situation.
In 2006, 6 national newspapers and magazines simultaneously declared him Nigeria's Man of the Year in recognition of his transformation of the Nigerian banking and financial system. His alma mater, the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, at his 44th Founders' Day in 2004, honored him as the most distinguished alumnus of the university. He has also been recognized internationally among the top 100 most influential Africans. Before being overwhelmingly elected governor of Anambra State on March 17, 2022, Professor Soludo also served on the boards of several corporations as chairman or members in Nigeria and abroad. Armed with Anambra's 50-year development plan, which he chaired the drafting, and the People's Manifesto, the Soludo Solution, he has intentionally set out to lay the foundation for Anambra's greatness by aggressively and simultaneously executing the 5 pillars of the plan.
Each day Every onye Anambra must ask him or herself, quote, what have I done today to make my home state livable and prosperous? It should be part of our daily devotion. There must be a purpose in God's, why God in his infinite wisdom decided to make you onye Anambra. In my view, that must be to live it better than you met it. No one is too poor to give or do something for Anambra. If not you, who? If not now, when?
True to his pedigree, Governor Soludo embarked on an aggressive infrastructure revolution, awarding 844 kilometers of single-lane roads, hundreds of kilometers of durable roads connecting neglected agrarian communities without resorting to reckless borrowing. 560 kilometers of roads has been completed, averaging 12 kilometers completed per month. 206 kilometers of massive road dualization projects executed across the state, while 2,000 kilometers of roads have been repaired in Operation Zero Pothole program.
We in the council, when I want to enter the meeting, I joke, I say, it's time for Soludonomics. Okay? Soludonomics, where you now learn, everything. As a medical doctor, I speak security now, I speak law, I speak like an engineer, I speak like, in the council, it's a wonderful teamwork, okay, where ideas are put together. And that's why it takes so long. Hours. People will be wondering, what are we doing there? If you're part of this council meeting, honestly, if you're one who wants the progress of Anambra, you'll be itching for every Monday to come, because that is the solution room where all ideas are thrown in, and it brings them in and all that. We argue. You see yourself, even when you make mistakes. I always have this little thing, talking to me in my mind. When I hear deputy, no, I know I'm not getting it right. And then on another point, you hear excellent. And then you're doing well. At the initial part, most of us were hearing more no. But now, to tell you how we've all progressed in the work of Anambra, the excellent is surpassing the no. Of course, you keep on moving stepwise and all that. And as the team is also moving, exposing ourselves, thinking outside the box. That is his clear mantra.
Education and healthcare were aggressively overhauled. 8,115 teachers were recruited through transparent merit systems. Free education to 598,309 students, and healthcare for vulnerable groups became state policy. As a result, Anambra became the lowest out-of-school rate of 2.9% according to UNESCO 2024.
Governor give us free education for my children. I'm very happy. If I go home now, I will cook food for my children. If they come, they will be happy too. So I'm thanking our governor. He made us be glad. And I told God that he will go again. He is performing well. He will go again.
For instance, 206,000 women benefited from the free antenatal care and delivery services, including 642 cesarean deliveries with zero mortality.
I can write a book on Chukwuma Soludo because it's been over 34 years. I knew him as CC, and then I knew him as Odenibo. From day one, when we met, I immediately knew he was a man of immense talent, immense vision, and a man with ambition. And he doesn't do things in a small way. He does them in a big way, in a clever way. And since I met him, he has always emphasized value for money. In fact, I was in Anambra during his second inauguration, and I asked my wife, let's take a drive on some of these roads so that I can see for myself. Because some of these things, you need to experience them. So what I always tell him is that we can't lower the standards. We have to raise the standards for him. Actually, part of his problem is that he has to be measured not amongst his peers, but higher than his peers. Because that's what we expect. If you're a professor of economics, professor of development economics, you've gone all over the world to advise, you can't be a governor of a state in Nigeria and you do less.
Security architecture was fundamentally revamped to reclaim the state from criminal elements, resulting to dismantling of 62 criminal camps and restoration of peace to markets, streets, and homes.
As you can see, what he has done with the security of Anambra State. You know that before he came on board, that Anambra State, the forests and bushes of Anambra State were crawling with unknown people, unknown bandits and people that were spoiling our state. And he came and swung into action and set up this very organized, watertight security system, Ludogashi and Agunechemba, and chased all these miscreants out of the bushes. And see, economically, security-wise, education, and all whatnot. He has shown his mettle as a man that is really out. Not a run-of-the-mill politician, but a man who has come to fix things that are messed up in the town. And he's doing a damn good job.
He envisioned a livable, prosperous homeland and is systematically laying the foundation for the African Dubai-Taiwan Silicon Valley. In November 2025, Anambra spoke decisively, voting to re-elect him with an unprecedented mandate of an overwhelming 73% of the total votes cast.
We in APGA were the greatest beneficiary. So when I want to talk about the governor, I talk about it from the standpoint of the benefit that has accrued to our political party. And today, people are talking about joining APGA. People are now identifying APGA because the governor has always mainstreamed the fact that political parties must be ideologically driven. And today, looking at the policies he's trying to, any future government, any future person that is elected on the platform of APGA knows that this is the ideology of APGA. So today, we have free education. So he's very intentional about that very strong social agenda. You have free education, you have free maternal. So, like he normally talks about it, with this relish, that a child born in Anambra goes to any probably healthcare center or public hospital, is delivered free of charge, has access to antenatal drugs free of charge, has access to postnatal care. When that child is eventually born, it's time for that child to get into education. He gets into a nursery school, it's absolutely free of charge. Gets into a primary school, absolutely free. Gets into the secondary school, absolutely free. Even gets into the university and still has access to bursary. So what more, I can tell you that it is that intentionality that matters. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. At times when we have meetings or we have discussions, it's very late in the night, and then you call up Mr. Governor by 11 p.m. He's still up, running, trying to, and I'll be like, how can a 66-year-old man be this strong, this agile, this disciplined? Why me? I'm just in my 40s, and then I can barely keep up. At times I just say, that in this creation, it appears that some persons were carefully crafted by the Creator. You don't have such luxury of having such, very strong character, very disciplined, very intentional. Like I said, the work ethic, that is what amazes me the most.
Governor Chukwuma Charles Soludo has intentionally and successfully transcended From a grieving child in a war-torn village to a global professor of economics, from saving Nigeria's banking system to architecting the modern renaissance of Anambra State.
Soludo, as we all know, is a phenomenon. Phenomenon in the sense that it's a man that turns things around, particularly when things seem impossible. If you can take your mind back to when he was in the banking industry, as CBN governor, he did wonders that today many of us in the business world are still enjoying it. And today you cannot talk about failed bank. Banks are growing from strength to strength. That single-handedly launched his person, his capacity, his ability to the minds of many. And I'm sure beyond Anambra, Nigeria is waiting for him.
As he marks his birthday on 28th day of July 2026, the journey of Odeniwa Agwatado Rumba, Mr. Solution, continues, a testament to what is possible when intellect meets absolute integrity.
From his address, that first inaugural address, I think he made it clear to everybody that he's here to work. No merriments. The actions will determine the sources of governance. And I think from even the first budget he presented to the House, looking at the content of that budget, you find out that this is a man that will determine to work. And I think if I look back on the past 4 years, I will confidently tell you that for a chance come Soludo, there's a rare bridge in terms of governance. But most of his actions, sometimes, when you don't analyze it well, you believe that he's going to make a mistake somewhere. But at the end of the day, it will be a perfect decision for the state. And working with him as the speaker, I think virtually all his decisions is excellent. It's excellent. And the way he selects his team is also something one needs to study.
The world celebrated Chukwuba Soludo as Mr. Transformation. In Anambra, they say that solution is here and Anambra is rising. For these accomplishments in Anambra State, the world is beginning to notice as he has received about 24 awards.
For the first time, I see a governor. I mean, I'm an entertainment person. Everybody knows me as an actor. And I see somebody, Anambra State, governing Anambra State, and willing and practically putting a lot of money into entertainment, leisure, and tourism. Some people may not like him because powerful, inspirational leaders, they always have enemies. Those who are very pliant, populists, dance to the tune of the people, eventually fizzle out with time. But if you check through history, those who have stood their ground, took difficult decisions during difficult times, in the end, they are the ones that history will reckon as the leader that came at the right time. And I see Soludo in that mode.
For these and more, the 3 senatorial zones in the state crowned him as Oluwa Tuewu, one that is not afraid of work.
The first thing I said was no. We said no. The children were against it. I was against it. After a very long time, he, after explaining why he was coming to contest for governorship, I knew what he would do in Anambra. I knew Anambra, after being a governor of Anambra, there would be Anambra before and after Soludo. I know him very well. So that's why
I moved to his side and started, convincing the children to support him. So eventually we gave him our support and we prayed for him too. His biggest motivation is service. For my husband is service. As a professor, as a global consultant, as a CBN governor, as a philanthropist, and as the governor of Anambra State, his service for him is just to live is living the world a better place.
As he marks his birthday on 28th day of July, the journey of Odenibo Agwata no Rumba, Mr. Solution continues, a testament to what is possible when intellect meets absolute integrity.